Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I'm Hunter Foreman, and we are here with another album review to talk about the long-awaited Carter 5 album by Lil Wayne. Now, for those who have been living under a rock, I should say, Carter 5 was at one point in time the Detox. And to those who don't speak that lingo, the Detox was an album that was Dr. Dre kept hyping up that eventually never came out. Basically, this album was hyped up for about 8 years, and it never came out until a couple weeks ago. Now, I waited a while to see what the actual numbers are for this album, and I believe the number was 475,000. Approximately around that number, maybe 476,000 total albums sold. That's sales plus streaming, and that's a whole different mathematical equation to get into. But let's talk about the album. 23 songs. My one fear with this album was that it was going to be outdated. The first single for this album was Believe Me featuring Drake, which came out in, I believe, 2010. And I was like, dude, if this happens, if he keeps the same songs from 2010 and puts it on this album, this album's not going to do good. It's going to sound super outdated. Now, as I was worried, and I was like, I hope Wayne is actually going back and, recording more songs for the album. And is actually paying attention to what because stuff we didn't have the type of sound that we have now back in 2010. So as the album gets closer and closer, I'm still thinking, is this stuff gonna drop? Because I remember the Carter 5 came out, I believe, the 28th of September. Yeah, I think September the 28th. And when I saw Carter 5 able to add to my library on Apple Music, I was in shock. I didn't know what to do. I was like, this is real. This is history. I was able to, and then I was able to listen to the whole album. And as I listened to the album, I first of all, I love the intro from his mom. I think that is a nice touch. I think that actually shows that his mom was there for him throughout this whole debacle with Cash Money, and Cash Money withholding money from him, and keeping the album away from the public for a while. So so that was a nice touch. And then we get to the first actual song, "Don't Cry," featuring XXXTentacion, rest in peace. X died earlier this year, and it was a tragedy. I still send my condolences to whoever who loved his music or knew him personally. But I was not a fan. I'm not a fan of this song. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I'm just it wasn't one thing that it wasn't one person. Everybody did their part. I just didn't feel personally, my taste, I don't like this song on this album. So I was kind of like, okay, Wayne, what are we going through here? Is this going to be kind of a sad album, or is this going to be, kind of one of those albums that you bump while you're working out or whatever? And towards the the middle of the album, I started to feel like, yeah, this is one of those kind of albums. But I will tell you this: I may not like the song that Lil Wayne and X did, called "Don't Cry," but I will tell you this: if there's a song that sounds like a Lil Wayne and XXXTentacion collaboration, if I want to know what that sounds like, I hope it sounds like this. I will tell you that for sure. That's exactly how it should sound. And what's crazy is that Wayne had never heard of X until I think the feature came together, and that's, man, I guess Wayne's just in his own world, and I respect that though, because he was just focused on getting this album out to his fans. Because one thing I respect about Lil Wayne is that he loves his fans, and he wanted this album out 8 years ago, and he could have made dedications 8, 9, and 10, and it could have been different. But we got the album now. But then we get to Dedicate, where he samples 2 Chainz's Dedication, basically 2 Chainz's dedication song to Lil Wayne, which is crazy. Dedication was off of the Collygrove project that 2 Chainz and Lil Wayne did, but legally it's a 2 Chainz solo album, but it had a lot of Lil Wayne features on it. So it was supposed to be a 2 Chainz and Lil Wayne collaboration album, but due to Wayne still in legal at the time, Wayne still in legal battles with Cash Money, it was referred to as a 2 Chainz solo album. But Dedicate, man, this is where I'm like, okay, Wayne, you got my attention. You got my attention. I know you wanted to get the new school collaboration out the way, and now we're getting to what I want to hear. And this is one of my favorite songs off the album. Wayne's rapid flow throughout this whole song, just him just rapping and not relying on the chorus, and him just going what he does best, and that's just spit bars. There's a song that this isn't my favorite song on the album. When I get to my favorite song on the album, I will express deeply why I think it's my favorite song, why it is my favorite song on the album. But Dedicate's my third, and then we get to my second, which is Uproar, which sounds like, man, this took me back a little bit. Swiss Beats is on the production for this, and you hear Swiss Beats doing his DJ thing, which out of all the people, DJ Drama, I like DJ Drama when he does his DJ drops and kind of does his talks during the turn the songs or something like that. Him and Swiss Beats are the only people that I like to hear, DJing, through the songs. Like kind of for those who have heard the Dedication mixtapes, where DJ Drama either intros a song or he talks at the end of it. That's I like only those two. So Uproar reminded me of like 06, 07. Where everybody was doing the Harlem, not the Harlem Shake, but the little bow wow dance, basically. Actually, I take that back. Like 04, 05, maybe 04, 05, maybe 02, maybe somewhere in the mid 2000s, where everybody was just dancing like little bow wow and shaking their shoulders and stuff. That's what this reminded me of. This reminded me of dancing as a little kid, and I didn't know what I was doing. And this brought me back to good times, and I love Uproar. And then we get to Let It Fly. Travis knocks it out the park again with this one. My only criticism with this song is I wished that Travis would have had a little bit of touch on production. I think if he would have, I hope whatever sessions that they recorded this in, because a lot of this stuff is old. This was recorded, this album was recorded for the span of 8 years. So a lot of this stuff was done, probably Wayne was, got this verse way before Astroworld, maybe even before Birds in the Trap. So it's interesting. But I'm going to skip, there's songs that I really don't really need to touch on. So I'm just going to kind of skip around. The feel of this project, though, the feel of this album throughout the whole album, from 1 to 24 to 23, excuse me, it reminds me of Triumph. It just, that the theme Triumph just screams at me throughout this entire album. This means, like, it doesn't matter who holds you down, what happens to you, you will overcome. Lil Wayne is literally, through this album, overcoming adversity. This is 8 years of pain and suffering that he's had to go through with Birdman and the legal team trying to hold him. And I'm glad that Wayne is able to release this on his own, and Young Money gets all of the proceeds. I think Republic gets some, and so does Universal, but Cash Money doesn't get a dime from this. Cash Money doesn't get a dime from this. Young Money is now is no longer partnered with Cash Money. So to see that Wayne is now his own man once again, and he can start bringing guys in like Gutta Gutta and I believe Jay Jones is one of them. T at sign, I don't know if it's just Tat, I think that's how you say it. Infamous, one of his longtime producers. Euro. What I'm saying? I could go on and on about Young Money artists. So it's really nice to see. It's really nice to see that Wayne is happy. To me, I think him releasing Carter 5 is probably has a huge weight lifted off his shoulders, and now he feels like a free man. And I don't want Wayne to release something again until when he's ready. If this is his last album, good. You went out on a great note, on the highest of notes that you can possibly think of. I want to jump to Mona Lisa, but with Kendrick Lamar. I had heard about this song for about 5 years, that this song was actually a thing. Not even 5. I've heard this. Okay, wait. 2015 was when I had heard about this song for about 4 years. I heard about it in my junior year when the rumblings of Carter 5 was I think the third attempt for Carter 5 to come out was, I think, my junior year, maybe my senior year. I had heard that there was going to be a Kendrick Lamar feature it's on a song called Mona Lisa, and I was like, I want to know what that sounds like. But then as I pay attention more to hip hop, I see Kendrick go from the jazzy sound to the aggressive sound of the jazzy sound of To Pimp a Butterfly, to the very aggressive sound of Damn, and to Damn, and I'm like, I hope that Kendrick hopefully updated his verse on this, because this track's probably 5 years old. This track's probably 6 years old. You never know. Cause this when I saw this, I was like, okay, we're finally gonna get to hear this. Mona Lisa featuring Kendrick Lamar. I want to see what this sounds like. And I heard it, and I was like, yeah, this is exactly what I wanted to K Dot and Wayne collaboration to sound like. I didn't want to hear no chorus. I just wanted to hear them bark on the beat, literally just bar each other. See who has the best verse. Kendrick, dude, you snapped, bro. You snapped completely, bro. If you recorded this probably around your, what was this? What Good Kid, Mad City was, what, 2011, maybe 2010. Let's just go with 2011, maybe 2012. And you got the opportunity to be on Carter 5. I hope you would have snapped. And guess what? You did. And I think this is one of the best tracks on the album. It may not be my number 3 favorite, but it's one of the best songs on this album because it's two heavyweights just barking on a beat, and that's all we ever wanted. Us hip-hop fans who grew up listening to Wayne and have seen the rise of Kendrick Lamar are really happy with this track and how it turned out. Sosa Man. I'm not going to speak too much on this track, the song called What About Me. Because it reminds me of a reply to I'm Single. Let me see if I can make this make sense. Everybody knows the Lil Wayne song I'm Single off of I believe it was off of the Sorry for the Wait mixtape, and then put on the I Am Not a Human Being album. I'm Single. If you just remember the lyrics to I'm Single and then you play What About Me, I think, and this might sound weird, I think he's rapping from a female's perspective, as a reply to I'm Single. That's what I think. I think it's the opposite. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he may be me may be talking from a guy's perspective where he's like, he's talking about a girl who says she's single and she's, you know, doing her thing, and, you know, maybe like you know, and she keeps hoeing him, like why you do that? Like, he says it in the song, like, so, and Sosa Man, to have Sosa Man on this song was so left field, but it made so much sense. Sosa Man, one half of the Sauce Twins with Sauce Walka. This is probably the biggest look he's gotten. You know, next to him signing to Taylor Gang, which is Wiz Khalifa's label. Wow. Sosa Man, your stock went up. I can't wait to hear what your next album is. I'm going to be tuning in for sure, because I liked your performance on this song, and I want to hear more from you. And shout out to Lil Wayne for reaching out to the younger generation. But shout out to Reginae Carter doing her thing on Famous. I did not expect this at all. I think this is the first ever daddy-daughter rap track I've ever heard. And I was very impressed. I was very impressed about how this came together and how the production complemented the vocals. I know that sounds really basic to say, but that's what I liked about this, about everybody complimented each other. I didn't think Lil Wayne did not outshine his daughter, nor did his daughter outshine him. I think this was an even playing field, and I think they executed it very well. What I believe is their very first track together, and it to be on the Carter 5 is a momentous occasion, so it's definitely a moment. Now we get to some more of my favorite tracks off the album. The song with Snoop, dope. Ninjas. You know what I'm talking about. The fact that they sampled Dr. Dre, and Dr. Dre sampled Bag Lady from Erykah Badu. So, if that makes sense for anybody who's keeping up, Lil Wayne sampled Dr. Dre, which I can't think of the song off the top of my head. It's on the Chronic 2001 album. Off the 2001 album, if y'all want to go look. And he samples that beat. And Snoop Dogg's on that song too. So, Snoop personally right now, Snoop is in a lot of my rotation, basically. He has a song on Young Dolph's Role Model called Let's Get High, I think. Or no, I Believe That I Can Fly. I think I Can Fly. That's the name of the song, yeah. I Think I Can Fly. And the feature was great on there. And the fact that Lil Wayne and Snoop on the same song sampling Dr. Dre is crazy to me. And the fact that it's it is the Bag Lady sample, basically, at the root of it. But this, man, listen, this doesn't sound outdated. Like, as I'm listening to this album, it doesn't sound like... of course, there's some songs that bring me back to the early 2000s, but they all make sense. Like, this song, doesn't sound like a 2018 song, but it sounds like maybe a 2012, maybe 2011 song. And then we get to my favorite song, Hitters, where it starts off with an interview where the guy asked him if he performed with Willie Nelson at the Country Music Awards, but then he's like, I don't know. I did perform at this bad bitch birthday party. She was so bad. And then he goes straight into the song. Oh, first of all, Lil Wayne, your beat selection, or whoever EP'd this project with you, which is probably Mac Main. I know Birdman did not have a speck of dust from his hand that even touched this project. I know that this, to me, this is the song that gets me up in the morning. This is the song that if it's been a hard day at work, I put this song on and I push through. This is, I remember, this is a little off topic, but I felt like I got the vibe from it. This is where I get the vibe from it. I remember I follow. I'm a huge WWE fan, and I saw WWE diva Peyton Royce post a workout video. Nothing crazy, just her, just regular workout, nothing ridiculous like you see on World Star. But her working out to this song, and I was listening to it, and I was like, yo, that's Carter 5. That's crazy. And I was just like, that's the perfect place to hear that song. Like, if you're at a gym and you're getting your reps in, I think "Hit" is a great song to add to your playlist for that. Like, dude, like, this song is very, like, it's very upbeat. The samples that they've chose for this, the beat is impeccable. Just all around great Lil Wayne track that sounds like it belongs in this era. And then we go to Took His Time. God Took His Time When He Made Me. More like, some of the songs on here that I didn't really talk about, like Dark Side of the Moon, Can't Be Broken, Open Letter, Problems. These are album cuts. These aren't mixed. Like, I know people were people who were not, I guess, not so acceptive, or not so actually, let me see if I can find not so receptive. Excuse me. No, that's a horrible word. Actually, not so impressed. Let's just say that. Not so impressed with this album. Because I think in their minds they wanted mixtape Wayne instead of album Wayne. And that's one thing that I had to stop and realize, that this isn't mixtape Wayne where every song is going to be a banger after turn up banger after turn up banger after bar banger after turn up banger. Like, it's not going to be like that. I'm gonna need some introspective stuff. I'm gonna need him to get a little emotional, because this album is the holy grail right now. Like, we've begged for this. If I could put up a poll right now, which album did you want more between, Carter 5 or Yandhi, or which is Kanye's upcoming album? Like, what album do you Chance the Rapper's next album? Like, what album did you want more? I'm pretty sure Carter 5 would be top 2, maybe even number 1. So, I wanted him to get introspective on these. So, throughout those, and then we got Open Safe, which him just talking his street shit. And that's another thing that I like about Lil Wayne. But these next 2 tracks, and then I want to get to Perfect Strangers, and then I want to get to the last song. And then I'm gonna wrap it all up with what I rate the album and everything. Start this shit off right with Ashanti and Mac Main. This brought me back to 0203, where hits were just being cranked out left and right. Like, if you put this song, like, Ashanti was a great addition to this album. The female artists chosen for this album, great. Nivea, Ashanti, Regina Carter. Nicki's on the album, on Dark Side of the Moon, which I didn't really care for. But, she had a great performance on that. This brought me back again. Wayne, what I loved about this album so much is that it's like, Wayne would take you like, okay, this is current Wayne, but let's bring it back a little bit with a little Swizz Beatz. Okay, this is Wayne. Now let's bring it back with a Snoop Dogg feature. This is, okay, we're good. We got current Wayne, but let's bring it back with Ashanti and Mac Main, with Ashanti on the hook. Man, what a great addition it is that Wayne decided. What a great addition that he chose for this album. And then we get to, I believe, my second favorite song. I've lost my rank. But this is probably like Hitters and Demon. Demon with Demon with Demons. That's crazy. That's deep. That's very deep to me. Like a demon with demands. Like the wordplay right there is very good. Cool and Dre and 808 Ray are on the beat on this one, and every time I see a production credit that has 808 Ray and Cool and Dre on it, I have to listen. If for those who don't know who they are, if any of you guys listen to the Royce da 5'9" album, they did the Pablo Boat with J. Cole. Amazing track. They did, if you want to go a little underground, they did Currency and Freddie Gibbs' Stash House. I believe so. So I was excited to see that they were on this album, and they didn't disappoint. Demon, again, just it's a slow banger to me. It's a little more slower than Hitters, and I was very, very, very impressed with this because I didn't know. 808 Ray seems like a very 808 Ray. His production style is that he takes very old school classic samples and flips them and makes amazing beats. If you go on Kent Jones, one of Kent Jones's mixtapes, he has a song called Mass Appeal, where he sampled Mass Appeal and he flipped it, and it sounded so current and so fresh. And the fact that you can take that 808 Ray can take a 90s classic and flip it to make it sound like it belongs in 2018 is ridiculous. So I was very excited and very happy with the outcome of this song. Perfect Strangers, that's that singing Wayne. That's that R&B Wayne, kind of, I guess you could say. See when Wayne starts to get emotional on songs, like if you listen to Perfect Strangers, kind of reminds me, just the vibe, not the actual song, but the vibe of Mirror from Carter 4 with Bruno Mars. Like when Wayne gets very introspective on all the songs, like Problems, Don't Cry. Like when he gets in those vibes and gets in those pockets throughout this album, all those songs remind me of Mirror by Bruno Mars, which I used to not like that song, but now that I've heard Carter 5, I appreciate all the Carters that came before it. Carter 4, 3, which I think is Carter 3 to me is the best Lil Wayne album of all time. Debate with me, I guarantee y'all. Come on, son. So I'm interested to see what's next for Wayne after this. Actually, because in Let It All Work Out, that was the majority of the pain just being released like that. If you want to hear pain, if you want to hear I need to get some stuff off my chest, listen to Let It All Work Out. If you're going through something, and you feel, depressed or something like that, Let It All Work Out is definitely something that you need to hear. Just sit there and because it's the song says itself. Like if you're going through some problems, man, let it all work out. Like, because it will. You can't force anything, because if you try to force something, it could possibly make it worse. So, just listening to this album from 1 to 23, it gave me a whole new perspective on Wayne, because it's like he hasn't released an album, a commercial album. If you want to count Free Weezy album on Tidal as a commercial album, then fine. I don't. But this is the first time we've heard Wayne on a grand commercial scale in almost 10 years. When did Carter 4 come out? 2011. We haven't heard Wayne on a grand commercial scale in 7 years, close to 8. And while I don't think that this is the best Carter, because Carter 3 and Carter 2 to me are above it, and Carter 1 is maybe third, maybe fourth to me. But this album, if I had to rank it on a scale from 1 to 10, and I'll explain my ranking after this, I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. I give it a 7.5 out of 10 because I feel like if Wayne didn't have a lot of stress upon himself with the legal battles with Cash Money, with the shooting that happened, and everything else that happened, throughout the 8 years of the journey getting to this album, this album would have been out in probably 2012, maybe 2013, maybe 2014, and we would have gotten possibly the best Lil Wayne album. I understand that there was a reason why Carter 5 was delayed so much, but I felt like while that time did benefit him because he was able to adapt to the sounds, and work with some of the the artists of today, it also hurt him because when I feel like he would record something, and then he'd be like, "Oh man, this has to be on the album. Oh no, this has to be on the album. Oh no, this has to be on the album." And then all of a sudden you got like 50 songs, and you're like, "Dude, we can't split this up into two." I heard Carter 5 was supposed to be 2 parts. Maybe is this what he was talking about? Because it's a double disc. It's 23 songs. It's double disc. It's 12 and 11. So for me to give this a 7.5, because while there are great songs, some of the best Lil Wayne songs I've ever heard on this album. Hitters, Mona Lisa, Demon, Uproar, which is now becoming a worldwide phenomenon with the Uproar Challenge, and everybody's doing the dance challenge. And hey, man, Wayne, you might get yourself a top 5 hit with this one. And Dedicate. The rest of the album just seems like him saying, "I'm sorry for this album being delayed." I would have rather had the attitude of, okay, I do apologize that the album is delayed, but let me give y'all some of the best music I ever made. Boom, and let's get it right into Uproar. And then I wanted probably 2 or 3 more Uproars, 2 more Dedicates, 2 more Hitters, 2 more Demons, and this would have been a classic album. It's a great album, but to me it is not a classic. That's just my honest opinion. Because just because of his stature, just because of his legacy and his place in hip-hop history as top 10 MC of all time, to me, you have to hold him to a higher standard. I mean, why do you think we always give Kendrick Lamar the pass? Because he always puts out consistent, great projects, in my personal opinion. All the way from, it started with me when he had a classic EP, if you want to call it an EP, it was 15 songs. The Kendrick Lamar EP. That's when I got introduced to Kendrick Lamar, and then everything he released past that turned into a classic. Section 80, classic. Good Kid, Mad City, certified classic. To Pimp a Butterfly, certified classic. Damn, on its way to becoming a certified classic. Even his Throwaways became a number one album. 9 songs that were supposed to be on To Pimp a Butterfly, but they didn't make it. So for me to just sit up here and say, "Oh, this was a classic album, 10 out of 10," no. No. I'd be cheating y'all. I'd be lying to y'all. We're supposed to hold Wayne to a higher standard. This album is not trash. This album isn't even average. This album is great. This album is great. If you listen to it from 1 to 23, the album sounds great. The production is great. It's a great comeback album. But that's the only label that you can give it, as a great comeback album. You know, like, this album gets Wayne right where he needs to be, at the upper echelon of hip hop. Now, if he decides to put out another album, then so be it. If he wants to stop at 5 and start another series, or I Am Not a Human Being 3, then so be it. But I'm not going to give this that classic feel. It's one, to me, it'll be in the top 10 best albums of this year, but it won't crack my top 5. It'll be honorable mention to me. That's just my 2 cents on it. So, I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Great comeback album, but Wayne, I need, now that you're back in the saddle, now that you finally got this off your chest and got it out, let's see what 2018 Wayne really sounds like. I feel like we got a glimpse of what he does sound like, but now I kind of want to hear what he really sounds like. A full-fledged, fresh recorded album. I know you got more in the tank. I know you got a million songs that you recorded for this album. I know you do. We're going to probably hear some of them, or we probably have heard some of them on the Dedication mixtapes. I know you got Dedication 6 coming out, maybe. Sorry for the Wait 3. I don't know. The Drought? Oh, if you come back with the Drought mixtape series, maybe the Drought 4, maybe, or 5. I forgot what the what number we're on. If you come back with that, or you come out with something that like you always do around Thanksgiving and Christmas time, man, Wayne's back, people. Weezy is back. Now we just need to hear what a fresh, clear-minded Wayne sounds like now. Ladies and gentlemen, that's been my Carter 5 review. Please, if you want me to review any more albums, if you want to send me some albums that you guys want me to listen to and review, send them to me. I'll put my email and my social media handles in the description. And I'll put the links to the Carter 5 album, so you can tell me what, if maybe you disagree, maybe you agree. This is just my personal opinion at the end of the day. So my name is Hunter Foreman, and I'll tell you this, guys, right now. If you want merch, get that subscriber button up. Click that subscriber button right now. When it gets to 100, I'll drop the merch. That's all I'll say. When it gets to 100, I'll drop the merch. I'm not dropping any merch until I get to 100 because I want my audience to really go wild for it, instead of just having a small audience and nobody. And I'm sitting here with 40 to 50 shirts that don't get bought. That's all I got to say about that. Y'all know the slogan. One love.